Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So guys, in today's video we are going to discuss about the introduction of HTML and web development. So in this video we are going to see in detail like how web works and what is the HTML and what all are the uses of different languages like HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So without waiting, let's start. So first of all, let's take a journey of what? A journey through web development. So yeah, let's go. But first, a little bit about the web. Okay, so before straight away moving on to the web development and HTML, we have to get some insights about web. So what happens when you type a URL and hit enter? So you must have searched something on the internet. So once you type the URL in your web browser, at that point of time, what happens when you hit enter? So let's say Christy make this fantastic web page that she wants to share with the world. Okay, so Christy has made this web page and she wants to share this web page with the world. Now she puts the code of her web page on a computer that's always running. This computer which is running always is called as server, and this computer serves her page whenever client computer request is. Okay, so suppose you can consider that there is a client computer and the server computer. So request is always being made on the client computer, and the data that we get from the place that is called as server. Okay, so all the computers have an address called as IP address. Think of it as a mailing address for computers. So suppose if we have to send a post to someone, what we do is we mention the mailing address of that person. So in the similar way, IP address is kind of a mailing address for computers. So if we have to send a data from one place to another, what we make use of is IP address. The server could also have the domain name, example helloworld.com, that corresponds to his IP address. Okay, so you can see that the server has the IP address, also along with it has its own domain name like helloworld.com. So when you type in a domain name for your computer, you are making a request to a server with that corresponding address. So this is how when we type a URL in our web browser, the data is getting fetched. So you can see that the client has sent the request that I'd like to request this web page please. So this request is going and it has reached the server, and the server when got this request has said that yeah sure, no problems, here is your data that you want. So here it is, and now it is going back to the client side. So after all these things happens, the client computer is then able to view the web page, that is this page where the hello world is printed. Okay, so in this way the web the web works. First of all, we request something from the client side, then the request goes to the server gives that details or data and send it back to the client side, and that is how we see something on the screen. Now this takes like very less time and it is very quick, so we cannot figure it like in how much time it happens, because it is in very milliseconds that this thing is happening. So we can see this in action using Google Chrome, okay, right? Because whenever we search something on the browser, we usually make use of this on the Google Chrome only. So now we have come to the next topic, that is what is web development. Okay, so developers write the code that describes what is shown in the browser and what should be sent to the browser, right? So till now we have seen two things, that is the client and the server side, and these are like broadly classified into two. First one is what is shown in your browser or your screen, and the second one is what is to be sent to the browser, like from where it has to be sent and what is the content that has to be sent. So what is shown in the browser is the front end part or the client side code, whereas what should be sent to the browser is our backend development or the server side code. So this is how these two things are classified, that is the front end development and the backend development. Now the foundation of the front end development are HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Okay, so all these three things makes up the front end development. So introduction to web technologies. Now HTML to create the document and structure of the content. So we have this markup language called as HTML, which is used for creating the document structure and content of our web page. Then we have something called as CSS, that is cascading style sheet, to control its visual effects, okay, or visual aspects, that is how the page should look, and if we have to make it more visually attractive, then we make use of this CSS. And the next thing is JavaScript. JavaScript is used to make our page more interactive. So you can see that here in the image also we have a skeleton, that is HTML will act as your skeleton of your web page. Next is we are having the CSS. CSS will take care of the looks of your website, and then JavaScript is basically the brain of your website. Moving on to the next one, which is our main aim for today, which is hypertext markup language, the main discussion that we have to take care of. So what is hypertext markup language or HTML? So basically hypertext, okay, so links, you can see links everywhere. Where does this link lead to? Okay, so which means that hypertext, which means that a kind of text which will take you to somewhere, or which will link to somewhere. Similarly, HTML is just the text with some extra text. So you can see in the examples, like this is the emphasized text, this is our normal text, and we have some tags along with it, that is em in the arrow, right? So this is called as a tag. In the similar way, you can see that hello is there and it is mentioned inside the p tag. So this is what HTML is. Similarly, we have a submit text that is enclosed within the button tags. So tags describes the structure and content of the page. So whatever the content that we are writing inside the text, it is based on the tags, that how it will be displayed on the screen. Similarly, here you can see that submit is enclosed inside the button tags. So the submit text will be considered as a button on our web page, whereas the hello text is enclosed inside the p tag. Therefore, it will be considered as a paragraph on our website or web page. So HTML. So HTML means hypertext markup language. HTML allows us to define the structure of a document or website. And most important thing, HTML is not a programming language, but it's a markup language, which means that its purpose is to give the structure to the content of the website and not to define an algorithm. You cannot define an algorithm using HTML, because we know that HTML is not a programming language, and if you have to do the programming stuff, you have to make use of JavaScript, that we are going to see in the later section of the series. So it is a series of nested tags that contains all the website informations like text, images, videos. So here you can see the example of a tag, like the title tag. So the text, that is, this is a title, is enclosed within the title tags. The HTML defines the page structure. A website can have several HTMLs to different pages. Okay, so basically you can create different pages, and the collection of those pages itself is called as a website. Okay, so don't worry if you don't get anything at this point of time. We are going to see in a greater detail in the upcoming videos. So this is the syntax example. I'm not going to go in a detail of this example because this might confuse you at this point of time, but here are some important things to know. Like here, div is a tag name, whereas id equals to main is attribute to the div. Attribute is kind of a property to this element. The next, we have a simple text statement. Another thing is a comment. So in every programming language or any language, if you want that something should not be interpreted by the compiler or the web browser, in this case, then you can enclose it inside a comment. And the last thing is the self-closing tag. So we are going to see all these tags, elements one by one in a separate video in the upcoming videos. So remember that HTML should only represent the content. This is the main aim of HTML. We do not use HTML for styling and for behavioral part. There are separate things like CSS and JavaScript for that purpose. So a different language called CSS is used to create rules about the style. Now I'm not going to cover the introduction of CSS in this video. There is going to be another separate video for this, because otherwise it will overwhelm you at this point of time. At this point of time, we only need the information about HTML. So with this, we have come to an end of this video. Just in case if you have any doubt, let me know in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new to the channel. Thanks for watching the video.